Diego Luna, such a pleasure to meet you. I think it must be a kind of dream being in a Star Wars movie.
It is a dream. It is a dream come true. You know, it is a universe I've been a fan of since I was young, since I was a kid, and being part of it and being able to be part of this new approach to Star Wars and these anthology films or these standalones, this Star Wars story idea, it's very cool. You know, it's a chance to be part of the evolution of a world I grew up watching.
Someone said sometimes you say you want a revolution, that this is the occasion to have a revolution in Rogue One. I think it's even quite interesting, the fact that it's also a political movie in some ways.
Well, I don't know if a political movie, but I definitely say a movie that sends the right messages. You know, I think. And Star Wars has been always about that. This film talks about the dark side, the dark moments of the galaxy. You know, the darkest moments of the galaxy, and there's no Jedi's around. There's no one that's gonna come rescue you. It's about you getting involved. You know, this film is about the people. You know, fighting for a common cause, leaving differences aside, and finding that working together makes them stronger. That the strength is in their numbers, you know, and it also talks about diversity, you know, racial and cultural diversity. This diversity that makes us stronger, you know, because it makes us richer, I think, yeah, I think it's a message that is very pertinent.
So you played in a Star Wars movie, but now maybe in the future you could direct one.
Well, no, I don't know. I live the present. I don't like predicting the future. I think it's a waste of time. You know, I never imagined this coming into my life, and like the best things in my life, this came as a surprise. So I'll be patient and let whatever needs to happen, and I'll just enjoy the moment. I'm an actor in a film I care about as a fan, so that's pretty special.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to meet Donnie. Talk us about your character in Rogue One.
He's the spiritual center of the mission. He is I guess he's the person who everybody drawn into. He practices the Force. He's the closest thing to being a Jedi.
And I think, he practiced the Force. I think it must be quite interesting for an Oriental actor facing with this particular philosophy created by George Lucas.
This should be done a long time ago. George Lucas said himself, his Star Wars was created by, inspired by many Asian philosophy, culture, and movies. And it's only natural to have an Asian character in the film, especially if you're talking about the whole philosophy of the spiritual philosophies. That's just part of the Chinese philosophies.
Do you consider yourself a spiritual man?
I think we're all spiritual in some ways, right? It's just with or without knowing it. I guess somewhat I consider myself a spiritual man.
Well, you have been known all around the world as a great star of action movies, but actually you also have a great rhythm for comedy, and in Rogue One there are some moments that are very funny.
Yes, I purposely wanted to shape the character that way, and beside suggesting to play a blind person, I want the character to be... I never played a blind person before. As an actor, it's just kind of naturally shaped.
And last question, I've seen that there will be an EP Man 4.
There will be... I'm planning to do it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I guess the two of you actually were great friends in the movie.
Yes, we
Once.
were. Once we were. Very
Yes, yes,
close.
yes.
And then what happened?
Well, and now, like the best friends, the feelings run very deep and very close to the bone. But what happened was he ran off with his second thoughts and doubts. And there is a job that needs to be done, and director Orson Krennic, who I play, being the director of military intelligence and operations and responsible for making sure the Death Star gets built on time and to perfection, must go and retrieve Galen Erso.
Correct.
Master scientist, father of Jyn Erso, our lead character.
Also correct, yeah.
It's not easy to develop this kind of characters in a movie like this.
No, I mean, it's not often you have all the time in the world because there's something else going on in the Star Wars universe. But I think that with a lot of these characters, they might have 3 or 4 scenes, but it's enough for some of them for us to relate to them and understand their story and their background. And it's a little rare, maybe. There's a little gray zone in this film that we haven't seen before, and we embrace that.
I think the idea of Gareth Edwards for this movie is quite interesting because it's more than a Star Wars movie, but it's something more epic in some ways. Do you agree with this?
Yeah,
Well,
epic is nice. I don't mind epic.
I think the description is wonderfully flattering, and we'd be mad not to take that description.
We are in the midst of the war in this film, the war that we've been talking about in all the other films but haven't seen very little of. And so being in the midst of that war makes it more gritty, makes it more like we are part of the film, and epic, yeah.
And about your first scene together at the beginning of the movie, Gareth told me that he was thinking about Sergio Leone movie. Yeah. Did you feel this kind of responsibility while you were shooting the scene?
Towards Sergio Leone?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of responsibility coming our way now. No, I mean, but you're right. When I look at it and when we were there, it felt good. And I did miss out on having a samurai sword and just finish it right there. But I think that is the epic thing you also talk about, that we use the landscapes maybe in a fairly different way than we have before. And the Icelandic experience was fantastic.
But the strength of Star Wars, I think, from the very beginning was that it did draw very much from the classic masters of the cinema. There's certainly always been a strong Kurosawa and Sergio Leone are actually pretty close in a lot of their templates. So it's a great honor to do something of a mock Sergio Leone. He's a master, absolute master.
So, Riz Ahmed, your character is incredible because you are the John Doe in a Frank Capra way that is in a much bigger situation than he is.
I love the way you put that, yeah. Frank Capra John Doe in a Star Wars movie. Yeah, well, I mean, Gareth Edwards describes him as the character in the war movie that is accidentally ended up in a war movie. He's not a soldier, he's not a rebel spy, he's just someone trying to earn a living, as you say. And he, in a way, isn't a kind of cheerleader for the Empire. You know, he's not there, with his pom-poms out, kind of cheering for Darth Vader or anything. He is just trying to earn a living. And that's because he's from a planet that is occupied by the Empire. So he's just trying to make ends meet. But he realizes you can't live life like that. You have to try and stand up for what you believe in, And so he decides to take that risk and make that bold move.
I know that you almost stalked Gareth with your videos.
I almost stalked him. Well, he did give me his email address, so I kind of thought, I don't know what. I just thought, okay, I'll send him the auditions. And then I just didn't stop sending them to him. I sent him about 14 takes. I can't believe that I did that. Actually, yeah, no, I can. I get very obsessive. I can do things like that all day long. And he then emailed me and said, thank you for sending these auditions, but please stop sending these auditions. Just stop it now. So I thought I'd kind of messed things up by doing that. And so he called me a few weeks later and saying, you know what? The first audition was the one I wanted to cast you after. Every audition take after that made me think, maybe you're crazy. So it's a lesson for next time.
You're also a musician. How much important was the rhythm of the movie on set?
You know, it's interesting because the rhythm kept changing from one planet to the next, from one set to the next, from one studio and location to the next, with different groups of characters. And so it was enjoyable in that sense. When you're working in an ensemble like that and you've got scenes with different kinds of characters, different kinds of relationships to mine and bounce off of, I think it creates a kind of symphony.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Cheers.